All right, welcome to the Ironwood Gym. So why doesn't the box squat work? In reality, the issue is probably why doesn't it work for you, or why doesn't it work for the athletes that you're coaching? Because box squat is a tremendous exercise to build maximal strength, and it can also help build explosive strength as well, depending upon how you apply it. So let's take a look at a few things, probably the most common things that you would see that would cause the box squat not to give you the results that you're looking for. Number one, it does not mimic your free squat. Okay, so your free squat is your squat without the box. That's all it is. So however you squat, whether you use a narrow stance, whether you use a wide stance, whether you use a low bar, high bar position, which is kind of a catchphrase that people don't really understand, or it could be a weightlifter style squat. However you squat without the box, that's your free squat. But when you go to the box, you actually need to copy your free squat. Okay? It should look exactly the same except for one thing, which I'm going to cover with later. Actually, I guess there would be two things. One thing would be that you're actually going to sit on the box. Okay? So that should be a given because it's a box squat. There is one thing that will be different from your free squat to your box squat though, and I'm going to cover that here in just a little bit. So that's the first one. It needs to mimic the box squat, or it needs to mimic your free squat. So if you squat with a wide stance and your shins stay perfectly vertical and you sit your hips back hard, that should be exactly what you do on the box. If you let your knees come forward, then when you go to the box, you should also let your knees come forward. Everything should be identically the same because that's what you're trying to improve is the free squat. All right, so number two is actually you're setting the box height incorrectly. Okay, so the box height, it should really be to whatever depth that you want to squat to, whether it's a competition depth that you're looking for, or whether that's the depth that you're gonna test your squat, or you're gonna have your athletes test. Most of the time, people set the box too high. So that's what I'm gonna put here. Box height is too high. But you can also set it too low, which will bring about the same problems, because if you're used to squatting lower on the box, then when you take the box away, your stopping point is actually gonna be a little bit of confusion for your body. When you're going down, you're not gonna stop at the exact same spot. Okay, but if you compete in a federation that requires you to squat 3 inches below what the rule book states, and you set your box higher than parallel, then when you get to competition, you're going to have problems, okay? Because you're not going to know where that depth is. So it is very important to get the correct height set with the box. All right, so number three is going to be you're not breaking the eccentric concentric chain. Okay, so some people set the box, okay, just as a depth indicator. That's fine, but you're not going to get the full benefit of the box squat in doing that. You're simply just going to be feeling for a touch point, and then you're going to come back up. Some people also do not release on the box. Okay, when you get to the bottom, you're not just going to touch the box and sit there and pause. That's not the point of the box, all right? The point of the box is to actually sit on it, release your glutes, and then explode off. So you actually want to break the eccentric concentric chain. The eccentric concentric chain is as you're coming down, that's the eccentric portion of the lift. Then in any squat, Cal Dietz goes over this extensively in his book Triphasic Periodization. He's talked a lot about it in many of his discussions as well, is that when you get to the bottom of a squat, there is a brief period of time where you are motionless. Okay? Whether you think that's true or not, you actually have to stop in order to reverse directions. So when you actually stop, this is without the box, you are performing an isometric contraction. Even if it is just brief, there is an isometric contraction there. And then on the way up, that is your concentric contraction. So the chain is broken if you take out that isometric portion. So if you come down with the eccentric, you sit on the box, now you're not essentially performing, and I'm going to go into more depth on this in a future video, but you're not actually performing the isometric per se. Some muscle groups are held isometrically, but your prime movers, your glutes and your hamstrings really are released, breaking that chain. There's no isometric portion there, and then you explode back with the concentric portion. So that is a big part of the box squat, is breaking the chain, and that is the one exception to mimicking the free squat, because in a free squat, you're gonna hold everything tight, okay? In the box squat, you're actually going to release on the box and break that eccentric concentric chain. All right, so these last 2 points, points 4 and point 5, both kind of reflect back to mimicking the free squat. And point number 4 is rocking. So if you watch a lot of older videos, West Side videos, you know, some of the videos out of the original West Side Barbell out in Culver City, they would actually rock on the box. So they would sit on the box, and then if I sit on the box here, this is my torso, they would actually rock back forward, and then explode up. Okay, you don't want to do that. All right, and West Side, the West Side Barbell that Louis finished with before he passed, they actually had quit doing that. Okay, they would come down, they would sit, but they would maintain their torso angle. They would not rock, and they would explode up. So if you want this to carry over, you need to not rock on the box. You need to pause. You need to have a very stiff torso holding that position and then explode off the box. Rocking creates too many problems, okay? The biggest problem it creates is that you don't know where you're at. So if you don't get back to that identical spot that you should be in when you come off the box, you're either going to be tossed forward or you're going to fall backwards. While you may not actually fall, whether it be backwards or forwards, you are out of position, leading to poor technique coming up and putting yourself in a bad position, more risk for injury, and definitely loss of potential bar weight that you could be handling. Okay, number 5, you're losing tightness on the box. And this is kind of a big one that people make a mistake on. Okay, while you do want to break the chain, all right, you want to break that eccentric concentric chain, some muscle groups need to actually be held tight. So when you sit on the box, you do not want to lose your tightness. If you lose your tightness, that's going to cause your spine from going from this nice, good, solid position to flex. Okay, that is a recipe for disaster. You could end up hurting your back, or at best case scenario is you're just not going to be able to handle as much weight. Either way, neither one of those things, getting injured or losing your tightness, neither one of those carries over to your free squat at all. Because in a free squat, you're not going to be able to lose that tightness. If you do, it is a recipe for disaster. All right, so I'm going to throw a couple bonuses in here. And this first one, going beyond the regular 5, bonus number 1, is that you never perform free squat. So the problem on this is that it's not really related to your box squat. Your box squat isn't causing the problem. You're causing the problem because you're not doing the thing that you're trying to improve. While the box squat is an excellent assistance exercise for the free squat, it needs to be remembered, or you need to remember that it is an assistance exercise. Now, it's probably the best special exercise you can do to improve your free squat, but if you never perform your free squat, your box squat is only making your box squat better. Okay? Now, if that's all you care about, like you're in my case where you don't compete anymore and you have no reason to squat without a box, then why squat without the box? To me, I prefer the box. But I don't compete anymore. So I don't have to perform any squats without the box. If you want the box squat to carry over to your free squat, you need to go out and perform free squats. At least, every other week. You can box squat every other week and free squat every other week, but you need to have something so that you will get that carryover from your box squat to your free squat. Just box squatting all the time isn't going to get the job done because you're going to lose the skill necessary for the free squat. So another bonus, and this should honestly be a given, it's not really training related per se, but you're playing the wrong music. You definitely need to have AC/DC and Metallica playing while you're box squatting. And that will definitely carry over to your free squat. Don't forget that. I will be putting more information out on the box squat. I've got several ideas lined up. I just got to get them done and get them put out there. But make sure you're checking not just the YouTube videos, but also my Instagram page and my Facebook page. Both of those are Ironwood Strength, because I'll be releasing stuff on those as well. So that is it for today. Until next time, always be in the pursuit of strength.